Hi, you guys. Welcome back to the Bedroom Talk Show. You know, this month is all about autism awareness. And this month, today, we're talking about autism in the school system. I know this is going to be a very good conversation. I love every year and every month in April to give you guys great conversations when it comes to autism, and I'm going to continue to do that. And today, I'm interviewing you guys, my son, former teacher, Dr. Sunshine. You guys, she was amazing with my son. Please don't forget to like, comment, and share. And don't forget to just subscribe to the Bedroom Talk Show. I'm going to keep interviewing dope people, and we're going to keep talking about autism because that's what I do. So, Dr. Sunshine, tell us your autism story, and let's get right to it.
All righty then. Well, hello everyone out there on the Bedroom Talk Show. I'm super excited to be here with my former AU awesome parent. Wait, let me spell it like her book. AU awesome parent, former parent, Miss Jordan, Crystal Jordan. This is super exciting. And I had the pleasure of being the teacher to her son, Zachariah, who you all I'm sure know, and who she features in her books as well. And I've also had the pleasure of reading her books featuring Zachariah. So, again, super excited to be here. I am a veteran teacher of 18 years in the field of special education. I have taught all elementary grade levels, pre-K through fifth grade. Out of college, I started as a para. Funny thing is, my undergrad was journalism, and I was kind of like, okay, what do I want to do here? What do I want to do? My family, mother, grandmother, aunts, all of them are and were educators, retired now. And so my mom was like, well, why don't you, become a para? And I was like, what is that? So from there, became a para. I transitioned into special ed. And when I was a para in special ed, which I saw, students with special needs when I was in school, but, we didn't really know much about them or, just what their needs were, or, really didn't know much. We saw them around the school, waved at them, were nice to them, but we didn't really know what the whole, special ed was about. And so, once I was told I was going to be switching over to that area, I thought, why not become a teacher of it? And so that's when I went in to get my master's, went on to get my doctorate in technology and leadership. Master's was in special education. And so here I am 18 years later, y'all, still in it. So I am currently an assistive technology specialist, which is my first year out of the classroom. And what is that, you may ask? It's an assistive, not an assistant. And so I have to kind of make sure I define, or, make sure people understand the difference between the words. So, an assistive technology specialist is someone who still supports students with special needs, autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, physical or gross fine motor development, social skills, all of those areas. And we help with accessibility. So, what is accessibility? And facilitate trainings for students, parents, and teachers. I tell them, if you pull out your phone right now, if you're on your phone, don't worry about it. But even if you're on your computer, but if you're on your cell phone and you start to type a text message, what is that you see populate? You start to see words, right? Those words are called prediction text. It's making things more accessible for those who may not be able to spell or write. Also, there's speech to text. You may say, "Hey Siri," and you're actually using speech to text, which is another form of assistive technology. So that is what I do now, just providing those accessibility tools for students to make their world more accessible. You go into a restaurant, you see large print braille menus, you see various handicap accessibility. All of those things are a part of assistive technology. So my autism journey, you might have kind of heard it up in my story, but as a teacher of special needs of all these years, I have had many encounters with students who have autism, girls and boys, pre-K through fifth, and all of them are absolutely wonderful. They're very distinct in how they respond to people, how they interact. You have some students who are kind of, to themselves, which is okay. You still embrace them. But you have some students who may be a little more affectionate. It just depends on, where they fall on what we call the spectrum. And so again, I've had the pleasure of working with so many amazing students. And the really cool thing about it is, till this very day, as Miss Jordan mentioned, I'm just going to pat myself on the back because we need to do that sometimes, don't we? So I have parents until this very day who still tell me that I was the best teacher they ever had. So that makes me feel really good. So I guess that'll segue us on into
Yeah,
the questions
she's the
that.
best. The best,
Thank you.
y'all. The best. She would find the way she worked with my son amazing. My question to you, the people who watch who don't know what this is, what is an IP and what is a 504 plan?
Okay, so with the IEP, that is an individual educational program or education program or plan, depending on where you are. So basically, what we do with an IEP is we work together as an IEP team. IEP teams consist of parents, all your teachers who work with your student, general ed, special ed. It can include your related service providers, including your occupational therapist, physical therapist. It includes your speech therapist, if there's a vision teacher, all of the people who are necessary to create a plan for your child are included on the IEP team. Okay. So, and the parent, did I say the parent? Very important. So, everybody is included in making those decisions. There's not one person, it's a team. So with that IEP, you come together to talk about your strengths, your needs. You talk about progress that the student has made, or maybe some regression that you may need to work on, and kind of determine what goals are best for the student to be able to meet those needs, and whatever deficit areas have been determined by their psychological report. And the psychologist pretty much takes care of that with some input from the parents, the teachers, and maybe some related service providers as necessary. And so with that psych report, you figure out, well, what are the areas of need that are specific to this child? You may have a social need, you may have cognitive, you may have
Hmm.
motor, which is fine or growth. So it could be various things. But that also helps determine what their primary disability is. If there's a secondary, if there's even a tertiary, there may be, which just means 1, 2, and 3. So with the IEP, again, you're just developing a specialized plan for the child. And it is a legal binding contract that has to be executed throughout the year. And there are times when goals may not be reached, but the key is to make sure that you're taking data, progress notes, having those conversations, teachers with parents, parents talking to teachers, just being involved both ways with everybody who's included in
Hmm.
that, to ensure that there's progress being made. And if there's not, like I said, you can talk about what needs to be done to make that happen.
Sometimes a new strategy have to come in place because all strategies don't work for the same kid. And I learned
Absolutely.
that from working with her. Her strategies was so based on Zachariah. It was amazing. And I
Oh,
pray that his kindergarten teacher is the same way. My
yes,
last question
you're
for you
right.
is
I
uh,
say, well, feminist Miss Jordan, I always tell parents, hey, you've had Chick-fil-A service, okay? So when you go into your next place, I'm talking to you too. When you go into your next place, be open, because you've had great experience with your teachers and even your current teachers. Just kind of take what you've learned from that and go into the new situation open to it, because you don't want to go in, well, I had this, my last teacher did that. Don't do that
I
to them.
guess you're right.
You
That
know,
is so mean because I'm like, I ain't used to this. Like it's
I
never
know,
mind.
and it
I'm not
happens.
used to this.
Think about when you came to pre-K, for those parents who started in pre-K and you were scared, you were nervous. Absolutely, because it's brand new, and it's the same thing when you're transitioning to just any grade level, but let alone pre-K to kindergarten, fifth grade to sixth grade, and so on. But you always want to start with a fresh mind. Be open.
That's a
Then if you
that's some
find
great
a
advice.
situation,
My
then
last question for you is what
mhm.
is some advice you would give a parent who's starting their first IEP?
Ah, I would definitely say to read and to ask questions. And I know everybody's reading level may not be the same, and that's okay. But that's why you ask questions. If there's something you don't know, we were young and in school. My parents, my teachers, I'm sure your parents and your teachers always said, ask questions. There's never a bad question. If you don't know it, ask. And
Right.
prayerfully, that teacher or that service provider, whoever it is working with you, will be open to it. But again, if you run into some issue with someone, you may have to go beyond that person. But the first step is to always talk to the teacher. And then if you can't get answers, kind of go beyond that. But always do your research. It's very important. I have to commend Miss Jordan because she's definitely one of many amazing, oh, no, I'm saying awesome. I got to use awesome today. Awesome parents that I have had who definitely know they know the information, and it makes it a little bit easier for the parent when you come to a meeting, so you kind of know the lingo, the language. Now, of course, there's some things you're just not going to know because there are a lot of things that teachers may not know, like in the psych report. There's some numbers that's not our field. We call in the people who are for that. But if you know just a little bit, read those parent rights. Know your rights. Like the biggest thing though, ask questions, research, read. And just be
Yes.
prepared. Be prepared to have a conversation too.
Yes.
I think a lot of times, you may have IP meetings where they're one sided, where maybe the teacher's feeling like, well, I think it should be da, 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 and the parent may be like, well, no, it should be da, da, da. It needs to be, well, let's discuss it to determine what is best for the child. I always remember the child is the core.
When you're a team, the meeting goes so much better.
That's
And
right.
then when the parent know their rights and the parent had took time to educate themselves on all the IEP laws, the ideal law, and they have
Absolutely.
actually took the time to research it, that
Hmm.
meeting gonna go so smooth. They're gonna say things like, "Oh, you be like, I know what that word means," and you can bring it down to your level, and it can go a lot better.
That's
So
right.
I always tell parents to educate yourself. If you don't educate yourself, you're doing your kid a disservice because you are
That's right.
always, and this is for all the parents watching, you are your kid best advocate. You can hire somebody, but nobody's gonna know your kid better than you.
That
And
is
if you
right.
don't take the time to educate yourself and learn about this thing called autism or Down syndrome, whatever your kid has, you're
Hmm.
doing your kid disservice. I know that may sound
Absolutely.
harsh, but
No,
I
it's
give tough
real.
love.
It's absolutely real. And go to the meetings.
I'll go
Let
to
me say it
meetings.
again.
Go.
Let me come closer. Go to the meetings, especially now that we are virtual and majority of the meetings, we have options in most school districts now, whether you want to be virtual or face to face. Go to the meetings. Parents, we need you. We need you to be there because it is your child and the decisions need to be made again as a team. So be involved. We want you there. We love
That's a
y'all.
good point. And before I move to my next guest, when your guys are involved, make sure you go over the IEP. Make sure you're going over that draft. Make sure there's certain words in there that you don't want your child to be described as. Like
Hmm.
I refuse for the word I don't want in my son IEP is aggressive. That word
Mm.
cannot be used and nowhere in IEP.
Hmm.
If he has a behavior issue, they cannot call the police. They have to call me. That is my rule. So
Hmm.
I want you guys to take time to educate yourself, read the IP, and don't go in there as a know-it-all. Go in there and be quiet. I go in there quiet. Then I go in. Like a secret weapon. That's
Hmm.
what I do. And I have like pages of notes per
Hmm.
IP. So
And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, I can't stress the word team. As long as you know that teachers are here to help you. This is what I tell the students. Are we here to help you or hurt you? Help.
help.
So parents, you have to kind of go into teachers too. Go into it knowing that we're here to work together for the benefit of who? The child. And you can't go wrong with that.
We have some comments. This is good advice for all parents. Yes. Thank you so much, Heather.
Yes,
And
thank
yes,
you,
go to the
Heather.
meeting. That is so important. Yes, that is super important that you as a parent go to that meeting. And like I always say, know your rights. Take the
Yes.
time to know your rights. Go buy a book called Right Laws. Right is the last name WRIGHT law. They are parents who have especially a kid who are lawyers. They created books. I highly recommend their books. They helped me with my IEP. So go buy their books. And there's more books out there. Just go on Amazon. And thank you so much, Dr. Sunshine, for coming.
You're so
You got, I won't say her
welcome.
other name. Um, but we'll be right back with you. My next speaker, you guys, I'm so excited to interview her. You guys, when I made a post in the Facebook group, and this is why I met all these beautiful queens. And her comment stuck out to me. And she is the reason behind this conversation today. Autism in the school system. Because her kid did not have a good experience. She have an organization called Project Leah in Texas, and she helped other parents. But she have a story. I want you guys to take time, listen to her story. And she right now she don't have a website, but guess what? Her website is coming. I'm going to help her. So you can find her Facebook group, Private Leah. And you guys listen to her story. She gonna have a website. I promise. Now tell us your story, and I'll be right back.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Crystal, for having me. Um, like she said, I'm based out of Texas, in the Houston, Texas area. I have three girls. My youngest two are on the autism spectrum, um, and they're on opposite ends of the spectrum. So, my middle daughter is in all gen ed classes and has minimal support needs, and then my youngest, when they're 14 months apart, they're 15 and 16. So my youngest Leah is in what we call a self-contained classroom with all students with disabilities. Well, she was, I should say. And what prompted us to start Project Leah, and it stands for Leaders Ending Abuse and Harm, and that's in Texas Public Schools of students with disabilities. And my daughter's name is Leah. That's where we got that from. Um, she has limited verbal skills, so she can speak. However, she can't tell you. We can't have a reciprocal conversation, so she can't tell you, how she's feeling or what her day was like. So, at the beginning of 2020, I started getting a lot of phone calls from school about behavior challenges and issues and asking me to come pick her up. And so Leah, she does have some behavior challenges. However, the calls that I were getting, they were just above and beyond what I'm used to for her. And I could not figure out what was going on. I'm a very active parent. I'm always in the classroom, always asking questions, always wanting to know, her progress, what's working, what's not working. So the teachers were just telling us that, maybe this is hormonal, all that kind of nonsense. In Texas, we have the option of having cameras in the classroom. So I requested to view the video footage. Let me back up. I'm so sorry. I got a call one day to pick her up, and this was the third time that they had restrained her in about a week or so. And so from there, I requested to view the video footage. Um, they wouldn't allow me to do so, and so quarantine hit. Like this all happened right around the end of February, beginning of March, and we were all quarantined. And they kind of forgot about my request. I went back and said, "Hey, can somebody from the school just kind of view the video of the restraint and let me know? Because I'm looking for the antecedent to what have triggered some of these behaviors. I had no idea of what I was walking into. Um, so they did view the footage eventually. They wrote up a written synopsis of what happened that caused the restraint, and it just didn't add up. Something didn't add up. I was getting text messages from a teacher that worked there that alerted me that the staff that had been working with Leah were all getting fired. So that's when I went ahead and got an attorney involved and a paid advocate. Um, from there, we requested to view the video footage. Just having those people on that email chain allowed me to go ahead and watch. That happened on June 8th, 2020. I walked in thinking I was going to be looking for an antecedent to behavior, how we were going to try to work on her behavior plan to make it, better. I had no idea that I was going to walk in to view my daughter being cursed at, laughed at, mocked, provoked. They even had her in part of the video where they did the restraint with her on her stomach, face down, two adult women, one on either side of her, pinning her to the ground. She was struggling on the video, and thankfully it didn't last long. So, after viewing that video footage of what happened, I the district, I was so out of sorts. We were in quarantine. I just didn't know what to do because no one was meeting at school face to face. I tried to file what was called, they're called SBEC, or State Board Educator Certification. Try to file a complaint. The school district said that they would go ahead and do that. Well, they never did. And I found this out a couple months later. So I was told by an attorney that even if those complaints were filed, that SBEC doesn't really do much as far as punishment for teachers, or even accountability, I should say, for teachers. And that in the state of Texas, there's this great like loophole in the law that kind of absolves teachers of any kind of accountability um, if they do lay hands on your child. So I asked the attorney, what could I do? I mean, I was at home crying every day. I was so depressed. And I said, how do I make this right? Like my child, she's not going to be just another statistic. And so they said, the only thing you can do is do something at the legislative level. So I said, okay, here we go. Don't have a clue what we're doing. But we started Project Leah to get training for parents on advocacy at the legislative level. Now, what I've come to learn, and we just started it December of 2021.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. But it's a long process to do anything legislatively. And it doesn't mean that what you think they should change, they're going to even hear or listen to that year. You might have to wait for another, session. So then we start talking about local advocacy. And a lot of parents, don't understand like the grievance process or even like going to your local school board. I mean, that can be kind of intimidating for parents. So what we're doing is providing that training to parents for free. We have collaborators in the state of Texas. We even have one out in Maryland to help us kind of get these trainings for us so that when something like this happens, we know what to do and how to do it. Like, submitting an email right away to ask them to hold and preserve those videos for possible litigation. So I know a lot of states don't have that cameras in the classroom yet.
Georgia don't have that.
We just got it, fairly recently. Thank goodness. Because when you have kids like, Leah, who can't talk and tell you what's going on, you need to have, something to keep those kids safe.
I understand. My son is nonverbal, and that is one of my fears. Like I wanted to do a body cam, but
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, that is against the law here in Georgia. I've been trying to find alternatives for me to be able to watch him in the classroom. And due to COVID, they keep like I can't observe the classroom. And I said they can't use COVID anymore. So I understand how you feel about the nonverbal.
Mm-hmm.
We as parents, we process things differently because our kids can't come home and tell us how school was, what happened in school. My teacher hit me today. We have to go to extra lengths, and for you to create an organization where you're teaching parents that type of information, that is amazing. And I hope that you get it to all 50 states. That is my prayer for you. Your story is amazing, and it's
Mm-hmm.
tragic too because it
Yes.
happens more than what people know.
Mm-hmm.
People just don't talk about it. People don't know how to advocate. People don't know how to contact like the simple things, the board, like their district.
Well,
Like
yes.
so
Well, and that's, what happened to us was we even had another layer to it where our school district administration, they're the ones who covered it up. So they knew what happened, but they chose to lie about it.
Of course they're gonna cover it up. That's their
Mhm.
friends. They don't want their friends
Right,
to get in trouble. So of
right.
course you're not gonna know if the teacher did something to your kid because their friend is gonna cover it up.
Hmm.
And that's sad, but that is the reality that us as special needs parents we live in. We live in that. Um and it's unfortunate. Um so my next question for you is, what is your goal with your organization? And what is your goal with the school systems in general? Not just Texas, but what is your goal that you want to see?
Yeah. So one of
You
our
can
big
write a law.
goals, yeah, is accountability, right? So
Accountability.
the teachers who did these acts that were just horrific. I mean, they called her names, they cursed at her. All these teachers are still teaching. They're in a different classroom, different district, but the same self-contained room where you have the majority of those kids have communication challenges. Um, so we're trying to do a couple of things. We want to make sure there's accountability. We want to close that loophole where they're able to escape any kind of accountability. I mean, it's kind of contradicting, right? Because you're a mandated reporter, but then you're the one doing the abuse.
That
Um,
that is that's
right?
sad.
So,
That's
mhm.
sad.
So we're trying to fix that up, but mostly, like I said, I think we might get more bang for if we're doing more local advocacy. And it really just comes, it boils down to one thing to me, and it's changing like that culture that our children are our children are people. They're human beings and they need to be treated like every other child. I believe that, especially when you have kids with these disabilities that require so much support, they're not viewed as I mean, to me, that's how it felt to me. I was never told they hid it from me, told me it was maybe hormonal. I never got the opportunity at the beginning, and this is my mom guilt here, to really kind of love on her and let her know, no one's gonna hurt you. I'm so sorry that happened because I didn't know. Um, and to me, that's so disrespectful. And to have the administration do that to my child just kind of showed me how they feel about all students. I'm the kind of mom who worked with my district. I helped them put on conferences. I helped them do autism awareness campaigns on several campuses. They all know me well and still chose to do this. So I can't imagine what other parents have gone through that
That's
they.
why they covered it up because they know you know your rights.
Yes.
That's the reason they covered it up. That's the reason right there. They covered it up because they know you know the law.
Hmm.
So that's the reason. Unfortunately, that's the reason they cover it up.
I
Like,
just we want a group of parents because after starting Project Leah December 2021, we have so many parents that we're hearing horrific stories from all over the state. I've had even people contact me from Wisconsin, who are going through these things. We want parents to know their rights. We want them to know what to do. We want every state to require cameras in the classroom of our most vulnerable students. Okay,
amen. I agree.
so and we want to also fix the law because even here in Texas we have the cameras, but like I said, they fought me to even view the footage even though there was an incident. So we got to fix that bill so parents don't have to fight so hard to even view the footage. So we just want a
We
bunch of
shouldn't have to
warrior
fight to see it
parents.
at all. If we ask for
We
it,
shouldn't have
if
to
we ask for
fight.
it, we should be right.
Yes, but
If we ask for it, we
it
should be
is
able to
very,
see it. It's sad. We
it
have a
is very
question, and I'm gonna
yes.
answer this question to the best of my ability.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
yeah.
Okay, so it's up to the parent what's in the IEP. So let's say, and if you didn't read the part, and say if they have a behavior plan, right? If your child has behavior issues attached to their disability or their autism, and that is in their IEP, and the parent did not read that, they can legally do that because it's in the black and white thing. Now, if the parent don't want their child restrained, it's up to the parent to read the behavior plan and put in protocols that you want your kid to have, because like my son, he has sensory overload and it's a lot, but I personally put no restraints is allowed. But the parent is the most important person when it comes to the IEP, the most important person. And it's
Mhm.
up to the parent to read. I don't care if it's 40 pages, to take time to read the whole IEP. I
right?
hope I answered that question the best way I could. I'm not a
That
teacher.
is, but that is another issue too that we're looking at is stopping restraint and seclusion in schools. I mean, it all goes along with behavior and how
Behavior
you
plan.
approach, yeah, how you approach it. You're only supposed to use it at the, if someone's
Is
in
that supposed to
extreme
be the last
danger.
resort, not the first resort?
Exactly.
And I don't even like the little rooms. Like it's the
No.
isolation rooms.
Yes.
I don't like
Ones.
those either. Like why are you isolating my child from everybody else? Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that either. But like, once again, that falls back to knowing your rights, especially in the school system. We have to realize our teachers are overworked and
Yes.
IEPs is a lot of work. So it's up to us to take some of the load off our teachers and educate ourselves and work with them. Don't come
Mm-hmm.
in there just being mean to them. Like I try to love on my teachers. I try to, do you need anything this week? You need me to buy you some supplies this week for the class? I'm that parent. And I'm
Okay,
very,
so
very, very involved. I'm super involved. Like
that
I'm
was
very involved.
me. That was me. I was that parent, and so it was devastating to find out that these teachers who I trusted, who I loved on, brought treats and gifts and
Hmm.
all kinds of things. This is what was happening behind my back.
I'm not gonna lie, it would have devastated me too. I would. I don't. I probably would do what you did, start an organization to help other parents because
I
at the
know
end of
what
the
else
day,
to do. Yeah,
we have to help each other.
we
We
do.
are
We
we
have
are a
to help
village.
each
Everybody
other.
on this stage is a village.
And it has to stop. It has to stop. So we'll see how far we get with Project Leah. But that's basically we have big hefty goals in mind for our
I'm proud of
kids.
you already. So, congratulations
Thank
again.
you.
And thank you for sharing your story and being so open about it because this could have helped somebody else. My next speaker, you guys, is a young lady who owns their organization called Love Speak Autism. Her organization is about helping low income families find ABA services, speech services, finding so many different things to help our kids that's on the spectrum. So I'm gonna let her talk. And Alicia, tell your autism story.
All right. Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Arlisha, and I have a son that is 7, and he's nonverbal, and he's also on the spectrum. And once I found out he was, nonverbal on the spectrum, that's when I did become an advocate, and I wanted to explore more about it because me myself, I was, I wasn't on the spectrum, but I was behind in school as well, so I kind of can relate. And that's where it pushed me more to do it. So that's where my story comes in, that is coming from where I came from. I know how he felt in school. Well, he's behind on certain stuff, and I can relate to that. So that's where I came in at, and I said, I'm going to, look more into this and be more advocate for my son. And that's also where Love Speaks Autism comes in at as well. So any resources from ABA, speech, even in the community support services, when it's local, we want to be involved and help and get those resources out there because it's hard finding resources, especially in a income poverty area. So we started in October of last year. And so we're definitely trying to get out there more, especially talking to the people as well and getting other services, especially from social services. So we're just trying to really get out there and get everybody involved because you don't really hear a lot about it, autism, in a low poverty area. So we're really trying to get it out there.
No, you don't. What
You
made you
really don't.
think? And I have an opinion, but what made you think that income areas don't get services?
Because I came from there. So that's how I know. Because it's hard. Some people have to go an hour away, 2 hours away.
You're
I've been
correct.
there to get better services. So it's better to look in your local area because some people do have services that you don't even know about because they can't find it and they don't have the promotions to do that, and that's where I come in. So anybody that has resources, I definitely want those resources to get it out there, especially in person, not just online, because people need that. They really do.
I agree with I agree with your mission. Um, I go through that. It's hard to get services. Like all my son good services is at least an hour drive for me. And
Mhm.
I've been debating, do I want to take an hour drive for him to
Right.
take all these services? And I was like, I'm not sure yet. Because he did have services that was local, but they wasn't to my standards. I'm not gonna get into my story about that, but it wasn't to my standards. And I agree with your mission. I think it's unfortunate that in the black community, I'm gonna be very blunt, that
Mhm.
we don't see services for our kids. We have to go to other communities that are not a color to get better services, and I think
Right.
that's really sad. Even when it comes to the free things that are for autistic kids, it's
Yeah.
not in a black area. It's in an area that doesn't have color.
Right, exactly. And also what I also share is where you can get, I mean, toys, even when it comes to STEMming, because my son, he STEMs.
Mine
So
does too.
right, and you have to find those resources, and he can't stem to everything that's inside the house. So you gotta find those right resources to get those things. And when it comes to sensory overload, that sensory seeking, that as well. So when it comes to even toys, to find them for a cheaper, like off Amazon, I shared that as well on my Facebook page. Even when it comes to in the school system, say you want to withdraw your son from school, because that's what I did. I withdraw my son from school and I'm homeschooling. So
Why
what
did
I
you withdraw him
do,
from school?
the reason I withdraw him from school, because when we started doing online, I seen exactly, what they was doing, what they was learning. And to me, I was like, I don't get this. It's not on his level. Like there you read a story and then he has to find the main idea. I'm like, he's not there yet. He's not verbal. He doesn't
What's
understand.
his conjugate levels?
You said what now?
What's his levels, conjugate levels?
His conscious levels.
Yeah, my son
That
is 24 months to 36 months,
okay, see, he's to 5 to 6 years old.
5 to 6 years old, and
Mhm.
he's nine,
He's 7.
7. Okay.
Hmm. So I knew he couldn't understand that. And so
Mhm.
as they kept getting into it, I'm like, it doesn't go with his level. So as we was doing online, they went in person, it was doing okay. And then after, let me see, it was August, it was 2 months later, it just won't, they just kept saying, well, Miss Bullock, he's not doing, he's not counting and he's not, saying his colors, he's not matching it up. So I'm like, you sure? I'm like, because he does good in ABA and he does good in speech. So I don't see where he's lacking from school if he's doing good in speech and
You know
ABA.
what it sound like? It sound like his goals was not strength based, and they was too general. The goal was not based on your son. It was just a general goal,
Right,
and it wasn't a
exactly.
strength based IEP goal. Because if a goal
Exactly.
is not measurable and it's not attainable for me for my son to meet, and I can assist him, that's not a goal for him. So I can understand that point too, and that's why I always say it falls on us to really really advocate for them and work with the
Hmm.
teacher and be okay. So you say he's not doing this. How about he's nonverbal? How about we do um not expressive? How about we do the I can't think of the correct word right now, but when he's pointing to it, that's another way he can say his colors. That's how I did my son.
Right,
He can't talk, but
exactly.
he can point to yellow, point to red. That's what he does in school. So I
Right.
understand that since my son and your son's nonverbal, I understand that the frustration when they want our kids to be verbal when they're not. That's so
Yeah.
frustrating.
Exactly. And I'm like, okay. So it was going on for a good 2 to 3 weeks. So that's when I looked into homeschooling. So I looked in North Carolina, it's easy to withdraw your child. So I looked into all the resources and I did within, let me see, it was December 15th, December 13th. I withdrew from school. And I was like, you know what? This is it. Because I always wanted to become a teacher. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to withdraw from school and I'm a teacher myself. This is going to be my chance to become a teacher to my son. And that's what I did. Ever since December 13th, I start homeschooling him and I love it. I
I've
love
been on the fence about homeschool too. So I keep meeting more awesome moms who have kids like me, mine, who are they're doing homeschool. So it's
Yeah.
that's kind of my goal. I'm not sure yet, but that's awesome to know that he's thriving in his environment with you. So that's really good. Um, we had a comment for our last speaker. I'm gonna bring her back so she can read it. Miss Gina, it was for you. I think you have another comment coming in for you too.
Okay.
You s- Okay, and you can go ahead and read it. I'll be right.
Truly, they are beautiful, sacred souls just beneath the surface. Kudos on last speaker for her efforts of protection. Thank you so much, Heather Martinez. It's been a rough, long journey. I really appreciate that.
Your mute is on.
That is so funny. I was talking. You know what? It happens, y'all. It happens. It happens.
Yeah,
But
that.
congrats to you for starting that and seeing that your community needed something like that for the low income poverty parents and families who have kids on the spectrum. We need services too, because all of us can't afford to live in a great area because they cost too much. We want to live there, but it's sometimes financially we can't afford it. So I appreciate your efforts for doing that, and I hope, and also I'm gonna add you to my resource list. So and then you can add me to yours, and we both can continue to help each other and build our resources. My next speaker is a principal. You guys, she has a son on the spectrum who was nonverbal, and I met her through a close friend, Miss Kim, and she talked so highly about her that I had to interview her. And number one, she's a principal, so why not have her on this conversation about talking about autism in the school system? So here she is, you guys, and I'll be right back. And please tell your autism story, and also tell us about what you do in the school system.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much, Crystal, for allowing me to be a part of this today. As she said, we were kind of connected through a mutual friend. William was diagnosed, and William is my son. He's 11 now. He was diagnosed at 2 on being on the autism spectrum. And one of the things I pride and my husband pride ourselves on is when his private preschool noticed some issues, we did not go into denial. We immediately, kind of questioned, like, what do you all see? What do we need to do? We went to his pediatrician at the age of 2. They kind of told us they thought he was on delayed, and we was like, we don't care what do we need to do to help him move forward. And from there, BabyNet came into play. From BabyNet, we jumped into ABA. So my son has literally been in therapies from the time he was 3. We took him out of a private preschool, and immediately put him into the public school and a 3 and 4 year old developmental preschool program, which gave him a strong foundation, trying to help him be able to get into a mainstream classroom. And as I joked with Crystal, in South Carolina and maybe in other states too, it is very hard for any child on special needs to get a shadow or a one-on-one. And of course, that was a battle we were trying to figure out how we were going to overcome, how we were going to get our son the necessary help he needed through a one-on-one. And when we went to his transition IEP meeting to go to kindergarten, they explained to us that they would send him over to a regular 4K classroom every day. And he was doing very good with the kids. He was doing all the assignments like the regular 4 year old kids, but they always sent him over there with a shadow or aid, excuse me. And so my light bulb immediately went off as the educator, as the parent. I was like, this is my answers became true. I was like, oh, so you all can send him to a regular 4 year old program, but he needs support. And they was like, yes. I said, well, sounds like to me he needs a shadow to be successful in a general ed classroom. And parents, when Dr. Bolton said, parents, you have to go to the meetings, I was just jumping for joy because now, as a principal of a middle school, and my son is there, it is so disheartening when we're sitting at a meeting, um, rather it's regular ed, special ed or autism or anything, and the parents are not at the table. Because if I wasn't at that table when he was 4 years old to listen to what they had to say, I would not be able to get him his support he needed so that he is able to be in a regular sixth grade with support.
I think her audio went out, you guys. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Um,
went out.
okay, great. I can hear you now.
I'm the only middle school in my district that has an inclusion where I have my special ed teachers push in to the classes versus pushing out of the classes. So the kids coming out. So he is fortunate to be able and be in a classroom with special ed teacher, a regular teacher, and his one-on-one assistant in order to make him successful. But parents, you got to be at the table when we're talking about the kids, and don't let the principal, the teachers make the decisions for you. Have a voice at the table. So right now, my son is in sixth grade. I'm fortunate to have him at my middle school today. And just ironically, he had a amendment IEP meeting, and I had to be the mom and the LEA, which that is very rare. Um, but I had to serve both roles. But at first, I listened attentively as a parent and offered my opinion as a parent, and basically just signed off as an LEA. So that's my journey with William.
I think that is an amazing journey. I'm happy that you're a principal and you are able to go in understanding what your kid needs. And
But
we,
like I was saying earlier to you, going in, I mean, I had to learn the lingo as well. Being an administrator on that end of the table is totally different from being the parent, because I made sure my husband and I would joke, we would have marathon long IEP because I needed to make sure we was crossing every dot, dotting every I, crossing every T before I signed off on it. And they knew I.
wow, you sound worse than me. I asked my son teacher for a month to go over his final IEP that we just had. And I have even like I have so many notes to add back to it.
Mhm,
At first the IEP was 20 something pages.
mhm,
Now it's 30 something pages because of all of my notes.
mhm.
And I feel that. I
Yeah,
I
but that's
feel that.
but it's yeah.
I'd be so nervous to sign my name. Like, I don't know. Is it perfect? Is it not perfect?
Yeah,
I
because like I
feel
said, his amendment meeting today, we added so many accommodations, and one of the special ed teachers told me, that's a lot of accommodations. I said, I know, but he has a one-on-one, and the regular ed teacher will make it work because they'll
yeah,
try.
that you know what? If a teacher would have said it to me, I probably would have got upset. You
Mhm.
guys, accommodations and amend the IP. Just because you sign your name on the IP, don't mean that's set in stone.
I know.
If you want to change or amend the IP, you legally have parent rights, and you can do that.
Yeah.
Um, so if you want to make accommodations, like for example, accommodation for Zach that I put in his IEP is I want him to have frequent breaks. I don't
Yes.
want him to learn all day
Hmm.
because it's too much. It may be a sensory overload. He may
Hmm.
stim. He may act out. I need him to have a break. Like, and I put that accommodation in there along with other accommodations. Like, I want him to have a wiggle
Go
seat
back.
when he's like when he can't stay seated. I want to have a wiggle seat. So you can add accommodations.
And that's what we did. We add several accommodations because he needed a sensory break. He needed, and we looked at timers because they said he's very good with time. So we're going to put in place so many minutes he will work. He gets his fidget break. So we put in several accommodations, chunking, because we are learning.
Did her audio go out? Because I'm not sure. Did her audio go out? It did. Well, you guys, adding accommodations is easy. Just know your kid and
Yeah.
add them. We had a comment, and I did break down the definition in the comments. It's ableism. You guys, teachers need training and recognizing when they're exercising it. And I did go ahead and write a comment for you guys to understand what it was. And
Mhm.
there you go. I'm not missing comments. I see them. I'm getting to them as we get to that subject. So, did you
And
have
parents,
anything you want to add to this?
just parents making sure, like we said, make sure you can call a meeting anytime. If you had an IEP meeting last week and you went home and, like you said, or a month later, and you see, you can call. Parents have the right to call an IEP meeting. You just don't have to wait to the annual review.
That is a great point, and I hope parents who are watching understands that. And yeah, let me see. We have so many comments, you guys. I'm getting to them. This comment is for you.
And she is right. When we found out that he was autistic, we immediately said, okay, what do we do next? We even went to, genetic doctor, and it was like we can kind of do a test to find out what chromosome, made the autism come up about in William. And we did the general test, and the doctor came back and said, well, we can't tell from the basic test. We need to go deeper. And my husband and I looked at each other and said, is it going to change the fact that he's autistic? Is it going to change the fact that he's our child? So we was like, we're done. And we just decided to do what we need to do. And when you talked about, Crystal, about services an hour away in a rural area, Georgetown, South Carolina is not the metro area. So my husband and I sacrificed, and I'm blessed that we are able to do it. His services, ABA services, were either in Charleston, and we had to drive an hour to Charleston every couple of days a week, or Myrtle Beach a couple of days a week. And every summer, we make the sacrifice to put him in an autistic camp in Myrtle Beach, and we have to drive him there every morning and be there by 8:30 in the morning, and we pick him up at 4:30, and that's an hour each way. So
Yeah.
we make the sacrifice, and that's what we're blessed that he is doing as well as he's doing.
Yeah, special needs parents, we make a lot of
Mm-hmm.
sacrifices. Like people don't realize that. I'm not saying that everybody don't make sacrifice for their kids. I am not saying that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying special needs parents, we make a lot of sacrifices when it comes to dating, when it comes to
Yes.
buying them new pair of shoes you want, getting your hair done, your nails. Sometimes we gonna
Yeah.
be looking busted
Mm-hmm.
because we gotta make sure our kid is getting the services they
Yes.
need. It been plenty of times I be looking a hot mess, and it be okay because I know my kid got the services that he
Mm-hmm.
needs, and I rather put gas in my car to take him to where I need to take him
Yeah.
versus going anywhere else. Um, we're gonna go ahead and get out in this speaker. I hope you guys enjoyed her. They like going, Chris, light went out. Yes, yeah, my light went out for no reason. That's so funny. My next speaker, you guys, her name is Dominique. I'm sorry, everybody nicknames by mistake, but I'm trying to find her. You guys, she started an organization as well. And I love meeting other moms, more awesome moms who create organizations because they're kids. And I'm gonna let her speak. Don, we can't hear you. No. No. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Miss Kim.
There it
We're
is.
going to
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay.
I
Well,
was
good.
about to give you some more time because she's been having technical
I
difficulties in the
told
back.
you I was having so many technical difficulties, but I'm good.
God.
Okay.
She was having so many issues. She have an organization called Parent and Bliss. I interviewed so many people I couldn't remember off the top of my head, y'all. Um, Parent and Bliss, and she helps parents at the IEP table.
Yes.
Did you hear me? She helped parents at the IEP table. And like I've been saying, IEPs are very important, and knowing your rights is extremely important. I know people like Chris always say that. Know your law. Know your law. And I'm gonna let her get to talking, you guys. I'll be
Mm-hmm.
right back.
So, as Crystal shared, my name is Dominique. I have an organization, Parenting and Bliss. And I recently founded my organization, like many of the other moms here. By day, I am an assistant principal. That is my career. And a couple of years ago, I just realized the inequities between parents and schools, and I wanted to be a part of that help. But it wasn't until recently, with my own struggles, I won't really call them struggles, with my own learning and growth with my son, that I really went ahead and went full blown into being advocate for parents. And I do this on donation basis because I do feel that when parents are in need of advocates and you meet an advocate and they want to charge hundreds of dollars, to me that's privilege. And all children deserve a free and public education. And so I do this and I coach parents and help parents to be able to be, I empower them to be the most credible voice at the IEP table. So a little bit about my personal story. I have a 9-year-old who's diagnosed with autism, ADHD, dysregulatory mood disruptive disorder, and anxiety. Excuse me. And things got really difficult for us during the pandemic. As I'm sure with everyone with children, that was just a new type of environment for us to be in our houses all the time. And I really saw his behaviors begin to increase. Um, and we ended up having to be hospitalized, and it was just a really trying time. We really do have a story. My son is 9 and he's been to 10 different schools. So just to sum it up, but the pandemic is really what made me say, okay, Dominique, you have to do something different. And so here in the fall, excuse me, here in the fall, I thrusted myself into educating myself and understanding, how can I better help him so that he can be more comfortable at home and at school. And here we are now. I'm empowering parents the same way I had to empower myself to be an advocate for him. And just like Latanya shared, my IEP meetings used to go for hours. Um, but even in that, I had to have a come to Jesus, because what were we really doing? What were we talking about? The last IEP I had, it was 1 hour. We didn't follow a script because I was sick of people playing with my child. I was very clear on what it was that I was expecting, and I did not leave that room until a clear plan was met. I feel like sometimes we sit around these IEP tables and it's a lot of talking, and then when you leave the IEP table, nothing is being done. I wanted to make sure that the things that I was asking of his teachers and of the school were realistic and things that they could do, so that my child was getting what he needed. I think sometimes we get so bogged down on paperwork and documentation and policy. And yes, you do need to be educated. You do need to do those things. But we forget that there are people behind those policies. And that's what I look at. What is going to serve the child? What is going to serve this family? I'm very serious about coaching parents up, even as an assistant principal, because it's very important to be able to level that playing field. It's not about the policy, it's not about the procedure, it's about serving children and giving children what they need so that they can achieve their highest in the academic setting, as well as in the personal setting. So I'm very passionate about the work that I do. This past weekend, my organization, we hosted a sensory friendly viewing of Sonic 2. And it was a beautiful thing. The kids were able to stem and run around and talk and get up and just do what they needed to do, and also enjoy a movie, because they deserve those opportunities as well in spaces that are comfortable for them. So that's a little bit about me, Crystal.
I'm sorry, I was mute. I love it. First off, the IEP, when you first go into it, the first one, it's intimidating. It's a very intimidating process. Um, but once you get used to it, it's not intimidating. Well, let me speak for myself. It's not intimidating. I go into beast mode and I just go in and I'm tunnel vision. And I will say it is a privilege to be able to pay somebody, and I did pay somebody to help me on the back end. Um, but you have some people who can't afford 250, $100 an hour to talk to somebody to help them with their kid, or help them go over the IP to make sure they're getting everything they need for their kid. And that's where you come in at. Where are you based? Are you nationwide? Are you just based on one state? Are you
I'm taking over the nation, Crystal, but my home is in Dallas, Texas. But
Dallas,
anybody,
Texas? You
yes,
gotta link up with Miss Jean. Y'all in the
Dallas.
same y'all you and Miss Jean in the same area.
I know we're gonna have to link up
Y'all gonna have to link up.
for
I'm
sure.
telling you, awesome moms have to link up and help each other get to what we need to get to. Because at the end of the day, we are each other village. Everybody village is not the same. Everybody village is not the same. And see if you have any comments. Alicia, you're a beacon of light. This is for you. Alicia, you're a beacon of light and a voice for those who seek service in unrepresented areas. I agree. You are. She is a beacon of light because we need more of that. Did you have a? You want to reply to that, Alicia?
Oh, thank you so much. Like I said, we just started in October, so this is all new. And I'm looking to do a whole lot more. Not just online, in person. I want to connect with every single mama, every single daddy, I just want to connect with everybody in person as well. But we're looking to do a whole lot more. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I am Miss Heather and all these comments from YouTube. I am loving you guys. Thank you, YouTubers, for and I'll call you guys roommates. Thank you, roommates, for check. Like y'all been on here for an hour. Like all of you guys. Like thank you, my roommates, for like really staying on here and actually listen to each speaker. Like that is amazing. I gotta cheer out my roommates. You guys are doing good. I call y'all roommates because damn, my show's called the Bedroom Talk Show, and you guys still coming in. I appreciate you guys. Um, you said the work you're doing is so necessary. Yes, Dom, it is because like she already said, everybody can't afford to have somebody come at the IEP table and advocate for them. Like that is a privilege. And it's funny she said that. I didn't even think of that as a privilege. I didn't even
And really, it should not be required, right? Because we say that every child deserves a free and appropriate education.
right.
So if I
Right.
have to go and pay for an advocate, then it's no longer fair. I had to get an advocate for my son when he was in kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a lady that worked at the church, and that's what she told me. I do this on a donation basis, and so I want to sow a seed in other people's lives. And I recently was advocating for a parent, and she was on the phone crying to me, I really want to be able to give. And I said, girl, because God loves a happy giver, a joyful giver. So I definitely don't want you giving and now you're tied up, can't get to work because you don't have no gas, or you can't feed your child. Like, it's not about that. It's about you being able to advocate for your child today, tomorrow, and for years to come. God gonna take care of me on the back end. I mean, that's just the reality. I do
Amen.
this because it is necessary. I've
It
seen
is.
too many parents show up at the IEP table and don't get what their child needs just because of lack of knowledge. And I know that as a Black woman, that is something that we're constantly trying to get over that hurdle. So then when you add special learning needs on top of that, it, it's the inequity for, like, I cannot, like, it
It's
makes
a
no
lot of
sense, y'all.
information. Then
Yeah,
you
like,
got to take time to learn the law. Then you got to take time to learn your
it's too
right.
much.
It's
It's too
it's
much.
it's so much.
And it's
But
intentional. It's by design that way. And so we need more people. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but we do. Like, we need more
I'm gonna
people
toot it. Beep beep.
that are just going to say, I'm going to do this because it's the right thing to do. I mean,
Right.
I tell the people at my job all the time because, yes, I'm an assistant principal, but I'm a human being. I tell people, they laugh at me because I be like, I'm going to lose my job. Because I will call those parents and I will tell, you need to do this. You need to do that. I don't care because I will not let you leave from in front of me, not knowing that I didn't turn every table over for you.
But you
I
know what? We need more principals like that.
being
We
an
we
adult.
need more principals that's not just in their office all day looking cute. We
Hey,
need more principals that actually care about the kids.
you can do both, you know what I'm
You
saying? But you got to be able to
like
get in this work and get your hands dirty. I mean, two
right.
weeks ago, we received a student from another school district, and I ended up having to email the executive director of that school district and say, I hope that the experience that I have had with your school is not a reflection of your leadership. Because this was a girl, I don't. Okay, we're not gonna play with kids. We're not gonna play with kids. We're not gonna play with parents. We're not
I
gonna play
was
with,
not ready.
I'm not gonna do it.
I know their face in the email was like,
I look, because I'm not gonna do it. And if you keep playing with me, then I'm gonna write the letter to TEA. Don't play with me because it's not fair. You have these children who are in need. I mean, they are desperately in need, and really all they want to do is learn. And we are having these families go through hurdles and leaps and all this other stuff just to get an education. I can't do it. I don't want no parts of it. I don't want no parts of it. So, parenting and bliss is here to serve people and not policy. We're going to level this
talking to you,
playing
your
field.
name, your business name fits you. It
And you know
fits
what?
you. It
If I
fits
just
you.
can, Crystal, I'm going to be real honest and say that it took me, God had to work on me. It took me some time to get here. And
Mhm.
my name is a testament that I can find joy in this situation.
Right.
I am parenting and I'm going to do it blissfully. I used to be very depressed, very unhappy. And even this idea of, oh, it's going to get better. And I used to sit and pray and cry, God, when is better coming? Because it's been hard. Like you said, it's difficult for any parent. Add the needs on top of that, it's 10 times as difficult. But I had
Mhm.
to realize better is right now. This is better in this moment,
I
during this
love that.
meltdown, during this frustration, during this difficulty trying to communicate. Because at the end of the day, me and my son, we want to show love to each other. We do. We desire that. And it is our responsibility to constantly figure out what's gonna be our definition of better in this moment, because he is who he is and I love him and I'm grateful for him. So I am parenting in bliss. I want to find joy in this moment.
I
Even
love
when
that.
you melting down, girl, I want to find joy in
I
this
love it. Cause
moment.
trying to parent and be depressed at the same time, people
Yeah,
don't talk about that. That is hard. Trying
girl.
to love another human being, let's be
And you
real,
still trying to love
and you
yourself.
trying to love yourself and you're in a whole depression,
Yeah,
that's a
it's
whole nother
real.
episode.
It gets
That's
real.
hard. So, like I said, I love the name of your business because it matches who you are. And I got to read this comment because Kim used to be a principal, but she retired. She said turn the table for the kids. I love that.
You
Girl,
got to.
that was her, but she retired because the things she seen in the school system she didn't like. And
Yeah,
I was like, okay. And I just love hearing more things like that from principals.
yeah.
Like like I love it. Just like the other young lady who's a principal. Um I love it. Like we have to do more for our kids.
We
Even
do.
if they're not our kid, they're
But
still
they are
somebody
mine.
kid. But they still
They are
somebody
mine.
kid.
See, I
See?
argue with educators all the time because they are where the parents said da da da. Da. The parents may not come, and that's okay. Because when you bring them to me, they mine. Because when I
Right?
send my child out, I need you to love him like he's yours. So
Right.
I'm
Cause you
every
don't know what the
child that
parent going
comes to
through.
me,
You don't know if that
right?
parent is going through
You don't
depression, that parent is homeless. You don't know what that person's going through.
all
So
these
when
things,
educators ask where the parents at, you in the wrong field. Because
right?
unfortunately, sometimes you're gonna be a babysitter. Sometimes you're gonna be a hairstylist. Sometimes you gonna be a counselor to them kids. You
All of
don't
it. I
know
had to
what
buy a
that kid
kid
going
lunch
through.
on Friday.
Huh?
Because I had to buy a kid lunch on Friday. It is what it is. It happens. Life happens. My mama said, I can make me a jelly sandwich, but mama don't have no bread. I said, I'm bringing you some bread on Monday because you shall not sit at this table again hungry. Like we're not doing that. It's not.
Girl, you
It's not
about
about.
to make me cry over here.
I'm
You
just
about to
telling
make
the
me
truth.
cry.
I can't come no way but how God created me to come. I'm just being real with you, Crystal. That's the reality because that is the work that we do every single day. Every child that crosses my threshold, they are mine. Those parents are. I tell them all the time. It's a reason why you're at this school when I'm here because I am gonna do right by you and I'm gonna do right by your child because it can't be any other
You see
way.
this coming. You see
I,
this coming. You see
I,
this coming. I agree. I can we all like touch an agreement and yes, I agree with that comment. Like did
you
you
got
see it?
to.
Don better minister. You better minister because I'm
Yeah.
about to here crying because like girl, this was not a crying episode for me. Girl, you got me.
Look, the last thing I want to say, if it is some educators listening, my mom, she's also a teacher and she sowed this seed into me. She told me when I was 6 years old, you're going to be a pastor. Now I'm a teacher, I'm in education. It's the same thing. I do minister. But she reminded me, like my third year of teaching, parents aren't leaving their quote unquote good child at home. They're sending you the best that they have. So in knowing that, especially and me knowing that I have a son that's going and having meltdowns and sensory overload and things like that, you know, that has always stuck with me. They're not keeping the good one at the house. They're bringing me and they're bringing them to me the best that they know how. So if you are an educator out there right now, especially in the field of dealing with a child with a unique learning need, you have to be reminded that this work is about counseling. This work is about walking side by side with your parents. You know, who is the professional? The person who had the baby or the person who spent the thousands of dollars to get the degrees to learn about the people that they are trying to serve? You have to constantly remember that you were put in this position for a reason. So don't let anybody, whether a general education child or a child with unique learning needs, cross your path going underserved, because that's an opportunity that you were given to change a life for the better. And we have to stop taking those things for granted. And it's not, not just about autism. All needs, whether academic, behavioral, social, emotional, we have to be more kind to each other. People over policy. I believe it. I believe it to the day that till the Lord sends me on somewhere else. People over policy. We have to see people. We do.
Dumb. You. I feel like I went to church a little bit, came back from church. Have you been reading these comments?
Yeah,
Like, like this is absolutely beautiful. Love your heart. Dumb is me. Um, and this one I really like. They aren't leaving the good ones at home in the closet. I used to tell my teachers this all the time.
right.
I agree with that. Like, it's no such thing as good kids. It's
No such thing.
they,
No
they
such
have
thing
they
as
have the
bad kids.
behavior right now because they're going through something,
They going
and
through
it's up
something.
to you to realize what are they going through.
Yeah,
What is wrong? Like,
absolutely.
so wow, girl, y'all love Dom. I do too. Follow her on Instagram, Parenting
Yes, please
and
follow
Bliss.
me at Parenting and Bliss. Yes.
My last speaker, and I'm gonna bring everybody back. Is Miss Kim. She is the leader of special needs ministry in her church, and I want her to tell her story. And instead of me tell it, who better to tell it than her? I'll be back. Miss Kim,
I was about to collect the offering for Dominique because I mean she preached that.
she not just got done preaching?
Hey, we can just say amen right now and shut it down.
Right. Dom Dom should have went last. I was not expecting that from her. Like, me emailing and talking to everybody, like, wow. Like,
Right.
I love putting together panels like this where
Yes.
we all be like, darn, that was a good.
I just want to shut it down with Dominic. But hi, my name is Kim. I am the leader of New Birth Exceptional Kids Special Need Ministry. I have a son who is 16 years old. My autism story in the classroom kind of relate like Jenny did. Jenny, my son was in the kindergarten, and one of the his teacher had to restrain him. And I'm like, my kid is like, what, 40, 50 pounds, and this big, huge lady restrained him. And I went, they called me, it's like, we having a problem with your son, can you come to the school? And I'm like, sure. I come to the school, and they said had to restrain. I'm like, restraint, why do you have to restrain my son? Every mom knows their child, he's a real mild mannered kid, and I'm like, why are you restraining my baby? So she went on like he wouldn't cooperate or whatever they was, trying to say. He was so disruptive. I'm like, my kid? No way, no way, not my kid. So I went to the classroom and I talked with the teacher, and I talked with the principal and everything. So long story short, they end up transferring. I didn't want him with the teacher anymore. They transferred to another school, which he had from second grade to the fifth grade. She was phenomenal. Oh my gosh, I love the teachers to death. But then she left to do another project with another higher education, another project, and it went downhill from there. I mean, my son is nonverbal. So when they're saying IEP meetings, I think I had IEP meetings every week after that teacher left. Literally every week. Advocating. I tell every parent, advocate for your child like never before, because you are their voice. My son is nonverbal. I am his voice, and I'm a very strong advocate for my son. The superintendent, I had even emailed him. I tell every parent, please keep a log. If you're emailing your teachers, or you're emailing the principal, emailing whoever the administrative is, keep a record of everything you have, because that's what one thing I had to do. I kept a record of everything that I was doing
You
with
know
my
what?
son.
It's funny you said that. That's why I came back. I was waiting to come back, but yes, and I highly recommend getting a planner on um Amazon. But if you don't have the money or the resources, I have a free planner. Um, you guys on my website. Go to freebies and download the IEP stuff. I have an IEP ebook free from another IEP advocate, 100% free is on there. Go on there if you need help, resources. I have so many resources on my website,
Yeah.
zachwrightword.com. And just go to the freebie side if you like. You don't have to go on my website to spend money. You can go on there just for the freebies, because what she said is important. You have to have a binder, or
Yeah.
sometimes just having this is
Yes.
enough. Like this is one
Yes.
125 in Dollar Tree. Like
Yes.
sometimes this is enough. So what she's saying is very factual. But you say you had to do IEPs every week when the teacher left.
I was almost there every week because of when my original teacher left, his fifth grade teacher left. They had substitute teachers coming in, and I wasn't. I'm like you. I'm a beast when it comes to IEP meetings. And I was like, you're gonna make sure that my son has get everything he's supposed to get. He's nonverbal. So, and
Hmm.
the one teacher, then they finally hired another teacher. She came aboard, and she was saying like he wasn't like sitting still, and then they had to change. I even had them to
But they don't have to sit
design a
still to
seat for him.
learn. That's my issue. They don't have to sit still to learn. Like
Yes.
work around that. Give me something else. And then
Yes.
legally, a substitute teacher they can't really go and they can't really read the whole IEP. That's illegal. They
Right.
don't have full access.
So it's he's in high school now, which is he has a wonderful teacher now. She's in high school. Matter of fact, what I do at my church now, every first Saturday of the month, we do what we call a free giveaway. So as the his teacher came out last month for autism, well, April 2nd for the autism awareness, his teacher came out with us.
Hmm.
It was so wonderful, and the kids are special need kids get a chance to volunteer in the church, and I was like, where does this? It's never done before. So it's like our kids are really working a job, and they're like out there in the community, serving the community. So I push so hard for our kids to have everything that they're supposed to have. I said,
That's
if
dope.
our quote unquote a regular ed kid can volunteer, why can't our kids volunteer
Cause they,
with
they
the
need more
parents?
social skills. Like, and
Exactly.
that's a stigma that autistic
Exactly.
kids don't have social skills. But how can my kid have a social skill if it's not a program that's for him to work on his social skills? That's where awesome parents like you, I, and Alicia, and Gina, and Dominique. That's where we all come in. At is creating these dope programs to help better our kids, because one day our kids are not going to be just autism kids, they're going to be
Yes.
autistic adults, and we have to keep advocating to get these things in place so when the next generation of autistic kids are born, they will have better than what our kids have
Yes.
now. So
Yes. So it's wonderful. That's my story, my autism story. So I would love to have any parent that's on. Please email me if you're interested in your child coming out. Volunteer with us every first Saturday of the month. We would love to have you at New Birth. Exceptional Kids, just email me exceptionalkids@newbirth.org, and I would love to have you there.
I'm going to go ahead and put up her information for anybody who wanted to email her. You guys, it is right here. You
Yes.
can take a picture of it, write it down, email her if you need to contact her. We're coming to a close, but I've seen so many comments for certain parents, I mean not parents, certain speakers. And I'm going to let my speaker read the comment there directed towards her as I look for more comments, you guys. And this is for she's a principal as well, you guys. Look. And she having an audio problem again. She said, I personally witnessed using your platform as an administrator to advocate and approve services for purchased children of autism. So I think that is dope. And she is very invaluable, you guys. And did you guys have any questions form? I did see a comment saying you didn't know you can have sensory time for your kids. Yes, you can add it to your IP. So much information. Yes, a lot of information. Yes.
And if I
Um,
may just add, a lot of parent, no question,
see.
literally at the IEP table, no question is a silly question. If it's something that you want for your child to have, just ask. Because the thing that people forget is that when you're at that IEP table, it's a committee.
I think it breaks down to this. Okay, so I'm not sure if you guys can hear Dominique. Absolutely. Every year, your queens, dads, whoever have us, anybody think all would do that. That is my platform. And I absolutely love meeting different people. Every year I learn something different. Every year I learn so much on my own episodes every year. Why not continue to do it and help educate acceptance of autism? And of course, other special needs are just as important. So close with did anybody have any closing words? Okay. So if nobody have any closing words, I'm going to go ahead. I think we're having technical difficulties, you guys.
Yes,
I'm
it's
not
really,
sure.
really choppy.
Because I felt like Don was trying to talk.
Yes, I can hear you better now. Can y'all hear me?
Okay.
Okay, I was just saying, in response to the comment about the sensory breaks, just that there's no silly question at the IEP table because it's a committee of people that are working together to put these plans in place for your child. So I had a mom one time, can they step out and have a snack because their medicine disrupts their tummy? Absolutely. Put it in there when you want them to take it. What kind of snack? Do you want them to just do it outside or do you want them to go to the nurse? Whatever it is that you feel that is going to help your child to achieve their academic goals, just ask because it is a committee decision. And at the end of the day, like I said, you are the most credible voice at that table because it's your child. Nobody knows your child better than you know your child. So you know what your child needs academically, social, emotionally, behaviorally. So just don't be afraid. Be unafraid to advocate for the things that you know is going to support your child.
And I just want to piggyback on to Dominique. It's a working document. Like you said, if you go home, like a parent that's on here today, and you heard something like the parent said she didn't know sensory break, call for IEP team to come back together and said, hey, I was researching, I found out I want this in the plan. It's a working document.
And don't ever take no for an answer. It should never be no, we cannot do this. It should always be we may can't do that, but we can do this. What can you do? Like that's what you should. If this is what you're wanting, and they're saying they don't have the resources or the people in the field, whatever. Well, what can you do? Because this is what my child needs, and don't let off of it. Don't let off of it.
guys. I think I'm having technical Okay, I don't know what just happened. I think I'm like, what is going on? But I was like, why I keep blinking on and off? I was I can't see any other comment. My speakers can see it. I'm having yeah, I can't read the comment. So like I said, if somebody just made a comment, you guys can read it. Before I see that somebody wrote something either on YouTube or Facebook, but I can't read it.
Heather said, Dominique, I like how you connect with the whole child and providing fun outlets and safe spaces while
Okay.
actually serving as a support for the parent as well. It truly takes a village, and it does. It really does. And if you're in the Dallas area, please do reach out. I am always looking for, we're doing a Tai Chi in the park this weekend. You know, people are like, Tai Chi, yes, we're going to teach the children how to regulate their bodies. Absolutely. So come on out in a sensory friendly space. So I definitely do want to connect with more parents and give the kids outlet and provide resources. And I just want to give
Amazing.
I want to give kudos to all the moms here for the work that you all are doing and providing resources and seeing a need and fulfilling a need. So thank you all so much.
You're welcome, Dom. Alicia, they wanted to know about your services because they're based in the same state you are. Alicia, can you recap where you're based and about who you are one more time? I did see that comment before my comments went out on my end. I think it was Miss Charlene who asked that question to you.
You said they wanted to know about my services.
Yes, they said Alicia.
Okay. Okay. So what my organization does is we get excuse me, we get resources and we provide resources for low poverty income areas. So that's mostly compared to like the small town areas, like where I'm from. My hometown is Middleburg, North Carolina, real small. It's like a population of 100 people. It's small, so we don't have a lot of services. So we have to go further out for those services, and we also look for in community services as well to support for the small local income services. So we do it strictly. It's online right now, and we're hoping to get more out
Where are you
there.
based?
And
How
it's
can
gonna
they
be
contact you?
it's on lovespeaksautisminc.org, and you can also contact us on Facebook. And we have a phone number and website. And the email address is lovespeaksautisminc@gmail.com. But you can go to our website at lovespeaksautisminc.org, and all our contact information is there. All the resources is there, and it's from ABA to speech to the local community services as well. And we also talk about homeschooling also as well. So it's a lot of resources. And I'm also trying to add on a whole lot more, especially with you ladies. I would definitely love to get you ladies on my website because there's a lot of information that people definitely need to know. And I want it from all 50 states, worldwide. That's how I want it to be.
Okay, that was great. You could do all the speakers who have been here. would be on my website. I would add all the here and the speakers from last week. Anybody who has ordered update my resource list, and I'm gonna and I do have it based on state. And Dom is based in New York. I'm just using example. Um, but I think we have one more coming. You guys really like this series. Like I am feeling you guys. Thank you guys for staying and loving the information. But like I said, you guys, she's gonna have a website needed. Gina was she's needed. I'm not needed, but everyone is needed. Please autism in black as well. Yes, autism in black is you guys. There it's busy, but I helped in you guys. I can't read the full comment, you guys. It went out. So like I told you, I'm having issues today reading comments. Okay, it just
I
popped
was
up.
sharing the organization
And
Autism in
yes, they
Black.
do have conferences as
Yeah.
well. Autism in Black as well. Um, she has a whole brand behind it. I think a nonprofit. She does a lot in the autism people. We need more organizations doing more people of color. I'm not saying other races are not important. I am saying that we are what I meant. I meant that. With that being stated, thank you guys for watching. And like I said, this is the Bedroom Talk Show. Next week, we're going to talk about navigating autism through a mother perspective again. I'm interviewing stay-at-home moms, and I'm a stay-at-home mom technically, but I'm not. And we're going to talk about them being a special need mom, pretty much staying at home because most of us work at home, and they work around their kids' disability. With that being said, you guys, I'm your girl Crystal J, and thank you guys for watching the Bedroom Talk Show.
Shit, my thinking different. People wicked, they be calling you special. I call you gifted. Won't forget it. My whole life changed after a visit. I was lost. The doctor said you're autistic. Listen, I'm thankful for God and all his blessings. As a parent, I think about life from my son's perspective. I wanna know when they staring.